Hello, creatures. I'm back. Are you in need of some inspiration today? Because I might have something for you. It's Autochroma, and it's all about the textures. This is Autochroma, a granular delay made by Imagerio. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. A music producer and now plugin maker, and I think he did a pretty damn good job at this because there's lots of textures that can be made with this. Now, I mentioned that this was a granular delay. What's a granular delay? It's a delay where the input signal is buffered or saved temporarily as audio, and then that audio is broken down into smaller segments, or grains. If it still doesn't make sense, allow me to explain further. Now, for some differences between a normal delay and a granular delay, here is what a normal delay sounds like. Now I'm using a piano here, and the piano sound is continuously being input into this delay, which is why we hear not only the attack being repeated, but the rest of the sound as well. In fact, with the feedback up, it almost sounds like it's getting louder. That's because the signal is still going through, even the later parts of the sustained sound. So if we were to play this, the rest of the sound is still going through. So let's bring that back down. And so the entire sound will continue to repeat as long as it's going through the delay. But the same cannot be said for a granular delay like this. What's happening here is already different. You hear that? Instead of it actually repeating every part of the sample, like the attack part of the sound, it seems to be stuttering throughout this sample. That's because we're delaying only this segment of audio that we see here in this screen, the buffer, instead of the overall continuous input. We can actually determine the length of this segment that we're hearing with the length part in the lifetime parameter. So we can hear more of the piano here. And this placement rate here is how long the actual delay interval is going to be, or the pseudo delay that we have here. So a shorter number is a faster delay, and a longer number is a slower delay. So anyway, let's go back over to the lifetime parameter here. This is what is our grain. It is the short segment that we have of the sound that is not going to be repeating, but is going to be sort of stuttering, I guess. Now, it's kind of giving us a little bit of a delay-like effect, but what's really happening here is we're taking the audio from what we're getting with our piano and granulating it like it's a sample instead of just a delay effect. I could shorten the grain even further, can make it longer. Can make it sound really weird doing that. I can even increase the pitch. And if I want to change the shape of this grain, I can do this over here with a little envelope. I can have a quick attack and a sloping decay. I'm going to bring it to the middle so it has a little bit of both, a slow attack and a slow release. And of course I could take it all the way to the end, give it a ramping up attack and a quick decay. And let's say I didn't want that, but I did want to have both a forward and backward kind of sound. I can add some reverse. So yeah, already from this, we can do quite a lot with that. If we just change around these parameters, give them a slew of different settings, like change the filter, for instance, make it a bit of a darker sound, add in some more dry signal, could do some interesting things with this. And that's what I did with this track. Now, one of the other things that you can have in Autochroma that I didn't really go too in depth with is you can have 3 of these granular delays active at the same time, and all of them can have completely different settings. With this sound, I have a piano, and I have different things going on in each one. Some of them have similar settings, but they're all, for instance, tuned to something different. The first one has no pitch difference, so it's going to be whatever note is being played. The second one has a 12 pitch, so an octave higher, and then 3 has an octave lower, and it sounds like this. Second sound I have here are some woodwinds. And I have something similar going on with all of the different grain settings that I have. Fair bit of reverse in all of the sounds, actually, mostly in green and red, or 1 and 2. And for this one, I have something similar, but I only have 2 granular delays active. One of them is pitched to the same note that is being played, another an octave higher. And I've given it some stereo spread, and I've filtered out a lot of the higher pitches. It's very twinkly roads. So yeah, you could get some nice textures with this kind of stuff. And it turns out I liked that sound so much that I duplicated it for the bass sound of this track using pretty much the exact same instrument. You can hear it's the same Rhodes, but down here, this effect still sounds nice even on lower notes. Now this one I have a little bit more going on. It's a dulcimer-like sound from Shambhala, I think is how that word is said. And what I have going on here is I have 2 sounds, one of them pitched up, but what's happening here is I've had it set so that the grain size is short and the repetition is pretty fast. So it sounds like it's an instrument that's being strummed instead of just hit with one hammer, because dry, it sounds like this. But if I give it the grain, it just sounds like this. And I can increase the rate here to show you the effect that it has. Up, up, up. The second sound that I have here is it's set to the same note as being played. And I think it sounds... I think it's supposed to be kind of like a duplicate of the first sound, just slightly different. Oh, there's a little bit of stereo panning going on as well. And then you have the first sound doing that. This next sound is a doubling up of a Celesta that I have where I'm not using Autochroma on that one, but I am using it on this one. And I'm doing something similar to the dulcimer sound that I have. I have the pitch set up to an octave, and I have a relatively short life, but a very, very quick granular repetition. So it sounds like that very quick stuttering. And of course, you can add this to drums and get some interesting things out of it. I don't think I have the most interesting settings for the drums sound because I do want it to at least sound somewhat rhythmic and not kind of all over the place, because sometimes, depending on how you set this up, it can get into arrhythmic territory pretty quickly. So I do have to be a little careful with how I play this. And in this one, I have a very simple sawtooth sound with all 3 granular delays active, and they all have completely different pitch settings. The first one is an octave, second one is a fifth, and the third one is 2 octaves high. And it sounds like this. Now, mind you, I haven't even added a reverb to this. This is just Autochroma. And finally, the last sound is just a basic bell combination. I also have the same thing going on with the pitch. I have one that's an octave up, and the other is an octave down. And so both of those together sound like this. Let me play that up a little higher. There we go. Now on this one, I do have some reverb, so you are listening to a little bit of reverb on this sound. And all of that together makes this. I do want to mention that I usually don't personally use this on a lot of things. I have used it before on a couple of different tracks, but I more so just sprinkle it in whenever I see this fitting somewhere. I still think this is a pretty cool plugin and can give you some interesting results if you're looking to adding some dimension or, like I said, texture to your music. It's also, I think, for the most part, pretty intuitive. I don't think it's too daunting to jump right in and change some settings around to get you something that's usable, and there are plenty of presets to start off with if you would rather, and they're honestly categorized pretty nicely. So yeah, this plugin is nice and a little bit trippy at times. So that's Autochroma, a nice little granular delay with a lot to say, and that's all I've got today. I just realized I rhymed. Well, anyway, now that I leave you with that, it's time for you to go out there and get creative. So, go and get creative. Bye-bye.